Hey everybody, in this video we are going to talk about how to make drum beats if you, like me, have no music theory or formal composition skills. We will discuss how to create the rhythmic framework of electronic music, but some of these methods might also be helpful to actual musicians. Frequent viewers of this channel will know that I love getting my hands dirty with genre descriptions, but today's little tutorial is all about other and much more universal aspects of crafting beats. Düsseldorf 1981. First of all, we need to discuss the most archetypal and versatile electronic beat of them all. Program a so-called backbeat snare on the 5th and 13th step of a pattern. Add a kick on the first step and another one or two for good measure, while keeping hi-hats to the absolute minimum. Done. If you feel fancy, copy the hi-hat pattern and shift it 2 steps to the right, triggering a different hi-hat or percussion sound. And put a sample that sets the stage for the music you have in mind on of the first bar of a longer loop. This beat works with all sounds and at all tempos. As we are in 128 BPM territory, you can't go wrong with a classic 808 kit, but 9 out of 10 listeners don't care. You can also crank the tempo to PS1 racing game soundtrack and load up a Meteor drum kit. There is a not-so-secret sauce with the potential to massively enhance this beat we will talk about in a bit, and while we're at it, let's try a more relaxed version which goes well with a kit sampled from old vinyl. And a healthy serving of steamed broccoli. Gimme a break! While you can totally get away with just programming backbeats in civilized dancefloor tempos, both the slow and fast variations we discussed before benefit from a little human feel and organic character. The easiest and most reliable way to do this is by throwing in an iconic drum break. These breaks have a long history of being pitched down, especially if you have an attitude. But they really shine at higher speeds. Stuff gets interesting as soon as you start to chop them up. Raise the tempo even further and mangle the loops with the most brutal FX available. Rumor has it that you can use other legendary drum breaks as well. In case you want to make your lack of creativity less obvious, you can also settle for generic percussion loops. Or just play them yourself without quantization. I'll leave that to people with an actual sense of rhythm. It's a trap. While old people like me totally love that retro feel, things have changed profoundly over the last few decades, especially when it comes to the hi-hat and kick drum motifs. Make sure to either use a DAW or hardware machine that allows for transposition of your samples and so-called rolls, retriggers or ratchets. Again, use the tried and tested backbeat, but put closed hi-hats on every step. Place the aforementioned retriggers. All they do is turn a single sequencer step into a garden sprinkler on random hi-hat hits and implement different re-trigger speeds. Long 808 samples are known for messing up your mix, but they are great bassline material as soon as you saturate them heavily and start pitching them around in places no kick has gone before. soundtrack for self-medication. The beat you have all been waiting for. So easy to make, yet so hard to master. Choose a tempo depending on your age. Put a bass drum on step 1, 5, 9 and 13. Copy that pattern, move it 2 steps to the right for the slow hi-hat. And cover the entire 16-step pattern with a fast hi-hat. Old drum machines had a so-called accent track, allowing for drum hits to be either loud or louder. We try to emulate this here by making every other 16th note of the hi-hat a little less loud. Program the backbeat from the beginning of the video, maybe this time using a clap. And you can open up this slightly robotic beat with, for example, a ride playing a more irregular rhythm and/or the Oompa Loompa Tom from the bassline tutorial. This is what I call the 16-step illusion. It already sounds like a beat, but it isn't. Yes, there are people who can get away with just one bar, but we mere mortals will have to duplicate this concoction, ideally until we have reached a length of 4 or 8 bars. Just like in chapter 1, everything you put on of the first bar will help you to set the stage without clogging up your arrangement. Now add sounds to taste, but not too many. A few little snares for funk and fills, a rim shot here and there, and of course a cowbell. Most of the time you will want to stay away from steps already taken by kick, snare and slow hats, but don't be afraid to delete drum hits, shift them around and sneak in tonal elements. The one that didn't age so well. Okay, let's get this over with. Set your tempo to 140, but, and this is the only intellectual challenge here, count the whole thing like it was 70 BPM. Ultra brutal snare on the backbeat and a relentless kick on the one, like it was played by the AC/DC drummer. Simple hats and a crash. And a percussion loop you found in your DAW stock library. I'm gonna add a massive preset for demonstration purposes. And now all you need to do is put a flux compensator in your DeLorean, travel to the year 2010, get Skrillex a proper job and prepare for a life as a headlining live performer. The UK pioneers of this genre at least had the decency to dial in a little swing, leading us to cheat codes, swing. Whenever I get hold of a crusty old groovebox I have no idea what to do with, I set the tempo to 126, program a 4 on the floor beat, make sure to include the fast hi-hats and some funky bits and bobs. And, most importantly, add an unhealthy amount of swing. Makes people wanna dance immediately. Cheat codes, Euclidean patterns. That's the one the Eurorec crowd cannot shut up about. There's a 20 years old academic paper that came to the conclusion that there are striking similarities between the results of an algorithm defined by a Greek mathematician from the 3rd century BC and rhythmic patterns used by musicians from many different cultures. All you have to do is to define the amount of drums you want to have in your pattern, and how much you want to shift them around. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Feel free to roast me in the comments for not including your favorite beat category. Like, subscribe, become a patron and use one of the links down below that help the channel regardless of what your guest commands you to buy. Thanks for watching and see you next time.